Hey, disturbing listeners, 90-Day Fiancé. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. This is the Psychology in Seattle YouTube channel. As I always say, everything I say in reaction to these shows is completely speculative based on very little information that the show deems to show us. Keep that in mind. Let's watch.
So you're not worried about anything about going to Sokoto? Not one thing?
I don't even want to think about it because I feel like this is the time for Abuja, you know?
Yeah.
So let's enjoy Abuja. Abuja is a place where I want anytime you come around, we'll be there.
So is Abuja somewhere you would see yourself having a family? Like having your second wife and kids?
No.
Interesting. So she actually seemingly introduced the topic of him having other wives, or at least one other, and children. So she casually brings it up, which really says that, to me, at least this part of it, this part of her, this part of the conversation is that she's cool with it. She's accepting of it. She's introducing the idea. And that's a good thing, I think, from her side to bring it up and not make it a taboo subject, because if they're going to work, they have to be free to talk about it. He has to feel that she is open to her discussing it. I don't know if I've talked about this, but it's obvious to some that it's sexist in this community, in that men have and are encouraged to have more than one wife, but women can't have more than one. I don't know if that's true. Is that true? If that is true, that is absolutely horrible. You know, I'm often talking about polyamory and how it's totally fine. It's stigmatized heavily. There's a lot of misunderstandings about it, even in the clinical community, less so as time goes on, but it's fine. So for him and the two of them to have more than one partner, totally okay. And sometimes there will be one person that will be the polyamorous person, at least in lifestyle, and the other person will not. And that's not inherently bad or horrible or immoral. But it is immoral, in my opinion, to have a system that allows a freedom for one gender that the other gender cannot participate in, which is, yeah, it's just uncool.
When the time is right for the second wife, she's going to stay in Sokoto, in that house. But why does that matter to you, that about having family, second wife?
And as far as this whole second wife thing, I don't want it to be in the same city. Like, I think it would be better if we're separate.
Are you guys enemy?
Okay, so she's expressing what she would want. She would want the other wife to be in another city. All right, so they're having that conversation. There's nothing wrong with her wanting that preference. I imagine that's not practical. And now he's saying, are you guys enemies? What's going on here? And I am glad they're talking about this, but I don't know where this is headed. So if he could be... So all this hinges on if she's really okay with it, because she says she is, and I don't have any reason to believe she's not necessarily, but if she's really okay with it, then he has an opportunity here to try to smooth things over by saying things like, well, what are you concerned about? And she'd say, well, I just, this and that. And then he could maybe belay those fears or something. So instead of being defensive and saying, what are you, enemies?
No, but when I come to Nigeria,
well, you are in Nigeria.
I don't have to see her.
Okay, I don't know if you caught that, but she's saying, when I come to Nigeria. So it sounds like she's not going to move to Nigeria. He's not going to move to this. I don't know. But then when she comes, so yeah, they're talking about long-term plans of where the other wife will live. So it does sound like at least Usman's going to stay there and she'll visit. And she just wants him all to herself when she visits. Okay. So I'm guessing that he, depending on what he wants, and it's hard to predict the future, but he could say, look, my other wife could live in the same town that we're in, but know that when you come to town, I'm going to absolutely pay all my attention to you, especially if it's limited, because, that's doable, or I don't know. But I don't even know if that's practical or what he wants. So I don't know. It's interesting that they're talking about it, though.
I never want to see the other wife. I'm not a sister wife. And I have every right to say where Usman's second wife can or cannot live.
You have every right to express what you want. You have every right to talk about what each of you wants and to suss out what he wants. You don't have a right to tell him what to do and tell this other woman, God knows who this is, where she can and can't live. That's you're not king.
I think it would be better that she stays, you know.
Wait. So even in Nigeria, when you come, you don't want to be around where, like, come on, you sharing the same. What you saying?
Usman is not taking the second wife thing seriously. Like, I already don't want that mental image in my head, and now you say something like that.
Wait, what did he say? I don't understand what he said there. Let's rewind it. So he's saying he's not taking it seriously. That's not how I would characterize it, unless I'm not understanding what he's. But let's rewind.
Wait. So even in Nigeria, when you come, you don't want to be around where, like, come on, you sharing the same.
Come on, you sharing the same, huh? I mean, there's swear word like S word or it sounds like. I don't understand what he's saying, honestly. But she's hearing it as being flippant or something. Or is he saying and she's hearing that they will all live in the same house, which I think would be quite customary and normal. It's okay if she doesn't want to do that. It's okay if he wants to do that. I'm just really glad they're having this conversation. Let's get into the specifics around what this actually entails.
What you saying?
Usman is not taking the second wife thing seriously. Like, I already don't want that mental image in my head, and now you say something like that. If he's gonna be sleeping with another woman while I'm in Abuja, I'm gonna make him bleach his every time he comes near me after that. Don't say it like that.
Yeah, I don't hear someone that is actually okay with her future husband marrying other people and having kids with those people. It sounds more and more like what it seemed, which is that, and I don't know if I showed this clip, but she says, since I'm first wife, I have total say over everything, which I don't know if that's customary either, but she is now. She could say that, and in polyamorous relationships, sometimes they have those arrangements. So they'll call them primary sometimes, where it's like, okay, you're my primary, I am your primary. Other people that we involve ourselves with are secondary. They do not take priority. I prioritize you over the other people that I'm with, and you are going to prioritize me over the people that you are with. And whenever you meet someone, you have to stipulate that from the beginning of, I have a primary, by the way, but I'm looking for other people to potentially have a relationship with. So as long as you're upfront, and I guess along those lines, that could be the arrangement. Usman could date other women saying, look, I have a first wife and she wants things to be like this. Is that okay with you? What do you think? So that's all right. But for her to say, it's just the way it's going to be, is not taking into account his feelings, the other women's feelings, the economics, the practicality of it all.
What you saying?
Usman is not taking the second wife thing seriously. Like, I already don't want that mental image in my head, and now you say something like that. If he's gonna be...
Yeah, it just sounds like she's not really comprehending what's going on. It would be so much better if she sat down and he sat, the two of them had an in-depth, mature, differentiated, descriptive discussion about what each of them is looking for. She is looking for, she's willing to accept it under certain guidelines and expectations that I think would make her feel like she is primary and that she would take precedence and that he's not really in love with these other people. And that's okay if she has that preference. I don't think it's likely or realistic, but she can have that preference, but she can voice that, but she can't demand it or dictate it. She could say it's a deal breaker if that's not the case, but she can't tell other people what to do. And for him to tell her, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm hoping to have happen. And we really don't know, because it's possible that his wants are in line with hers, that he is planning on having this other woman be very, very tertiary to his life. Or is it something else? Or is he like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I just wish that they would tell each other what they're looking for. Is there flexibility in there? Because there's a possibility that there is enough overlap that they can work something out, or there's no overlap in their preferences, and thus they have some thinking to do about necessarily being a deal breaker.
I'm gonna make him bleach his every time he comes near me after that. Don't say it like that. Well, you need to understand my culture too. I'm very independent, and I'm proud of that. I know you're the man and all this and our relationship and everything, but when you tell me like I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, no, boo. I'm going to do things my way too.
Okay, Yeah, I just, it's typically on this show, the couples will be seemingly vying for supreme power instead of saying 50-50. So I don't see a lot of that from him, but it's possible that he is communicating that. It's also possible that he's like, I'm going to do what I want to do down the line. I don't have anyone to answer to, instead of taking her into consideration based on his cultural expectations or something. I don't know. But I don't know. I just, now they're starting to power play each other. He can usually handle it okay, so let's see how he does.
You and I are having a very good time.
Are we?
You bring this topic. Wait.
Are we having a good time right now?
We're having a good time. You bring this topic. I focus on it now.
I asked you one question.
No.
I asked you one question.
What question is that?
I asked you where she would live. That's all I asked you.
You didn't just ask the question, Kim. You told him what is going to happen. You told him that the other woman has to live in another city, which is, from the sound of it, doesn't sound practical or what he wants. So you asked a question, but it was a demand. So, and he indicated, at least passively, that that wasn't his preference. So it wasn't just a question.
If we decide to build a home together in Abuja, you and I don't think your second wife should be there. I'm entitled to my opinion.
She can live in Sokoto, she can live in Abuja, she can live in Kaduna, anywhere I choose to. At least Nigeria is my country.
I'll just stay my ass in San Diego.
Okay, so they're both power playing, and she's saying, this is the way it's going to be, and he's saying, this is the way, and they each have their justifications. For her, it's, I'm the first wife, so therefore I'm the king. And for him, he's saying, this is my country, so I get to say what happens, when they should be talking to each other about what each of them wants. All right, well, if you want to support what we're doing here, you can become a patron of the podcast by going to patreon.com. There should be a link below. By becoming a patron, you are literally giving me the ability to do all this stuff, because I wouldn't be able to do it without the patrons. So if you would like to help, that would be great. If not, totally fine. If you can't afford it, totally fine. If you can become an upper tier patron or an annual patron, that also is helpful to us. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.